Welcome you guys. Welcome to another segment of Unmorphed. I know it's been a long time, but we're finally back, getting started again, and we're starting with a great guest today. We have the lovely and beautiful Miss Kristina Ho from Power Rangers Beast Morphers. How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I know we've been trying to arrange this for a while, but I've been trying to arrange with a lot of people, trying to get see what their timelines are. But a lot of people's getting ready for Hollywood opening back up, doing auditions, and getting back to work. How ready are you for everything to start rolling again?
I'm really excited. I know we all had, I guess, like a year and a half. We didn't think it would be a year and a half. We thought at first it'd be like a few months, and then it became like a year, and then became like a little bit more than a year. So I'm definitely more than ready. I know quarantine was hard for a lot of people, but I actually kind of enjoyed watching a bunch of K-dramas
There you go.
and like reading a bunch of books and working on my health and my fitness. So after like I guess a year off, I'm like, I'm ready.
Yeah,
So,
I've noticed a lot with a lot of artists that they primarily when they think about the pandemic, they think that's it's all negative and all that. But to a lot of people I've been talking to, they've been finding it as a kind of a blessing. Like they find a way to hone their skills that they wouldn't really normally do, or things like that. Is there anything like in particular that you try doing or continue doing that kind of help you keep
I
yourself?
tried. I mean, I have so many different interests. Like for a week, I picked up like sketching, and I was like, "Wow, I'm like pretty good at this." And then after a week, I got bored, and then started something else. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try dancing now." And then I started dancing, and I was like, "Oh, I actually really enjoy this." And then I stopped doing that. And so I'm just like, I just have so many different interests and hobbies that I'm not like really amazing at one thing. I'm just like okay at a bunch of different things.
Same here, the jack of all trades.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I really enjoyed about your time on Beast Morphers is how you embrace the physical comedy aspect of the comedy world. Like we don't get to see that a lot in TV shows or movies in general. I think the one of my favorite people that did that is like Jim Carrey, or
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's really cool that you got to experience. Now, tell me a little bit about yourself growing up. Were you like shy? Were you like the class clown? Were you a troublemaker? And were there any signs that you were moving towards the limelight?
Actually, when I was little, I was really, really shy. Like my mom used to like be kind of like embarrassed because whenever she'd bring me out and tell me to say hi to people, I would just like stare and like not say anything. I don't know why. Like I think I just was like just like scared of like strangers and stuff like that. And I remember I think my mom kind of put me in like an acting class with she's still my acting coach. Her name is Tina Devon. When I was like 8. And I think she did it just to get my confidence level up. And so that definitely helped me get out of my own skin. But I was really shy and like quiet growing up. And I don't know what happened, but like I'm definitely loud now. So something happened. Yeah.
Yeah, you're enjoying it more, and I mean that's great. Now, like you were saying that your mom got you into acting class, so I guess this one kind of, not typically in an Asian household, like the career of the entertainment business is kind of frowned down upon. Were your parents always very supportive of it, or did they try to steer you away from it, or the realism?
I'm gonna be 100% real here. When my mom put me in acting class, she wasn't trying to get me to be an actor. She was like, just like, hey, like I want to get her confidence level up and all this stuff. And then when I told her I wanted to be an actor, she was like, what? I was like, come on, you're the one who put me in acting class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I started doing like plays and like musicals in high school, and my family was like really supportive. Like I have a big, can I swear?
Yeah, no, this is totally.
I have a big ass family, like Asian families are just hella big, and like we all grew up in the same neighborhood. So anytime I had a play or like a musical, they like just like my big family, like just extended family would all come.
Yeah.
At, like opening night, closing night, So they were super supportive in that way, but it was always like, this is Kristina's hobby, and we should support her in her hobby, right? And when I got into LMU's acting program, which was like my dream. This was like after I had like 2 years of college. I got into LMU's acting program. I met my manager And then my manager basically told me like, hey, like you can either, you know, go to LMU and enjoy your acting program there, or you can just, you know, like be an actor. It's going to be really hard to do both, you know? And so I chose to just act. And I told my mom, I was like, hey mom, like I know I got into my dream school, but I'm gonna defer and not go, and I'm gonna pursue this acting career.
Yeah, definitely.
And my mom, oh my god, like I don't know if like if your parents are like this, but my parents are really dramatic. She was like crying. She was like, Kristina, how could you do this? Why are you doing this to us, your family? You know, like she, I think she cried for like a week straight, you know, and she was like, I'm crying when I'm eating, I'm crying when I'm in the shower, like, do you see what you're doing to your family? And I was like, mom, trust me, like I know it's scary right now, but like it'll pay off eventually, you know. And so when I got Power Rangers, obviously they were really happy and like a little bit relieved, but I feel like because they're Asian parents, they're always going to be worried. Like I feel like even if in the future, if I'm like receiving an award for like, I don't know, like an Emmy or something like that, I feel like she's still gonna be like, okay, so like, do you still want to act? Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that worry is always gonna still be there. So
definitely. I know for me, like growing up, I did think about, you know, going into acting and trying that. And I did, you know, get scared off a little bit, but I guess I found my way back into the entertainment side, so which you know, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, it is scary, and it's but you know, at least you know you have your parents there to support you. They're gonna have all your posters and all your, you know, all your memorabilia on the wall, you know, just
they're
supporting
like
you the
they're
whole.
supportive, but like on the inside, like whenever I go to my mom's like nail shop, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all of her clients are always like, she's so proud of you, she talks about you all the time and how like, you know, like you're so amazing, and I'm like, she never tells me this. What? Like she's proud of me? What
She
are you
just doesn't want you to
talking
become
about?
complacent. That's the thing. They don't want to praise you in the certain way where you're like, okay, I did my job. I don't have to, you know, keep going.
God, I know. Asian parents, like I think it took like a long time for my mom to be comfortable with saying like I love you. Like
Yeah.
I think I had to like kind of like teach her like, hey, like it's okay to show your feelings, you know.
Yeah.
But now like they're a little bit more better, but they're, you know, they're still getting there.
And that just comes with like how, you know, Asian families are. Like it's hard for them to be vulnerable and open up about those type of things. Now, when in the process of auditioning, is there a special way that you approach it? Is there do you get scared, or do you kind of get any anxiety like leading up to a big audition?
I mean, it really depends. So when it's like a comedy, whether it's like a multi-cam or like a single cam comedy, that's like, you know, that's like my home court. Like I feel very comfortable and I'm like, oh yeah, I got this, you know. But when it's like a drama and it's really serious, that's when I do get a little bit nervous, you know, because I am kind of big, and for drama, like you just, it's like the camera's right there in your face and you can't move that much, you know what I mean? So I do get nervous, but I always get coached by my acting coach. Like I will always text her like, hey, can we Zoom and run this? And she will always be there for me to like, you know, help me run through the scene, get into character, you know, like the backstory of the character. What does my character want? What is she feeling? Yeah, but I think I do best when it's kind of like a dramedy, when it's like obviously comedy, but a little bit serious sometimes, you know, so yeah.
So I mean, the major majority of your fans have seen you in that comedy side. Is so you really want to explore other aspects like the drama and the, you know,
I do. I've always wanted to play like a really dark character.
Okay.
Because obviously when you look at me, you don't really see me doing that. But I do have a lot of fun, like in acting classes and stuff, and things I've auditioned for where like she is like darker and she has like really dark humor and she's like sarcastic and kind of like breaks your balls a little bit. Like I definitely want to show that side of me a lot more, because I feel like that's probably like the opposite of Betty.
Did you initially try like auditioning for like Liana's role or anything like that?
No, I actually kind of wanted to, but they originally had me audition for Jackie's role, the Yellow Ranger. And but then again, like I mean, going in, like the breakdown literally said like should be around like 5'6" or 5'5", and I was like, I'm literally 4'11", so I think when I came in, they're probably like, she's way too short, so let's just have her like, because like I know like when you're like sitting next to the Rangers, like everyone should be kind of like the same height, you know, and obviously it would have been like
Yeah, but
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah.
But you never know. It could have happened, right? It could
It
have
could
happened.
have, yeah. If everyone else was like 5'2" or like
Yeah.
5'3", maybe.
Now, growing up, you know as well as I do, there weren't a lot of actors and actresses that look like us. I know for me, growing up, I looked up to guys like Dante Bosco or Ernie Reyes Jr. from the Ninja Turtles movie. How do you feel about representation in Hollywood? And is this where you think it ends, or do you think that we're going to continue to make bigger strides?
I really hope that this is not where it ends because we still have some ways to go.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first moved to LA and then I decided to, leave college and become an actor. My manager, she was like, there's not a lot of auditions for you right now because there's just not a lot of roles. And if there were any roles, they're like basically really racist and stereotypical.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to audition for those roles. And I think it's better now because we are seeing more and more characters that look like us, that have full lives, that we're not like the main character's best friend. Like we are the main character and we literally have like a human story. And we're not just good at math, you know what I mean? Like I was never personally good at math ever, so I just or like the class president. So whenever in the past when I would see like typical Asian roles where it was like class president, good at math, quiet, I was like, I can't relate to this character at all, but now I'm seeing more and more characters that are like Asian American, but also can be the rebel, but also, can have a lot of family problems that like, you're like trying to work through and like, and you can fall in love and be funny. And like, it's getting better, but, I do want to see more representation for like Southeast Asians.
Yeah.
So right now, my manager, like he told me like, we are getting, more representation, especially with everything that's going on. But a lot of it is like looking for, Koreans and like, Chinese and like Japanese. And I was like, obviously, like, I don't ever want to play a Korean when I'm not a Korean. Because if someone played a Vietnamese role and they weren't Vietnamese, I'd be kind of upset, because there's not a lot of us, but I do want to see more roles for, Southeast Asians for sure.
Yeah. Do you find it kind of offensive that some actors do take on roles that it's not necessarily their ethnicity?
For me, I'm just like, I personally wouldn't do it, but if they do, I understand because like it's really hard in the industry, man. So when a role does come by and like you get cast and you're like a starving actor, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna be like, why did you do it? It's like you need to eat, man. You gotta freaking pay your rent. Like I get it.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't judge them.
But I mean, it is great. We are seeing a lot of like shows where like the Asian family or Asian characters are the lead. I know I just finished Kim's Convenience on Netflix, which I really enjoy. Fresh Off the Boat. Also, Lana Condor is doing some great things with her.
I know. I love that because I'm like you see a high school girl falling in love. Like when you see like an Asian girl being like the lead where she gets like fall in love and have it be like humorous and funny and relatable and anyone can watch it and like relate to it,
So it's great. It's really great. Now, what types of roles would you love to try out for? And like what would be your dream role? Like a lot of people like, yes, I would love to, work with Spielberg. I would love to work with Tarantino or something. What would be your dream role?
Well, here's the thing. I know I said I wanted to explore a lot of different kind of roles, so for my next role, like maybe like a little bit darker, but like my ultimate dream role, like where I want to end is I want to be in a show like Friends. Like it's just like, I feel like that show was literally like catching lightning in a bottle, like it ended so long ago and people are still watching it for the first time and like really enjoying it. And like everyone on the show is so talented. Like David Schwimmer, the way like his comedy is like insane. Like his reversals, his beats, his build, like his physical comedy, I'm just like, it's such a timeless show. And I did watch a reunion, obviously. I love the show. And like he literally said, like, well, I think it was him, he was like, it was like doing a one act play every week. And I loved doing plays in high school and college, and I feel like if I could do like a show like Friends and have it be a sitcom, but also I'm doing a one act play, it's like combining the best of both worlds. So yeah, that would be like my ultimate ultimate dream show, but it's really hard because I don't know if a show could be as good as Friends. Like, it's the best.
A lot of shows try, but it's hard to capture that magic.
Yeah.
The chemistry. Like even through the reunion, you saw that they really truly felt like a family. A lot like your cast on Beast Morphers. I could tell that you guys really enjoy each other. I think that's the most like endearing and most like fun thing about you guys is you guys really cared about each other. And I love
We
that you
really
guys
were
still
a
hang out.
family.
Yeah.
We really like we're just cooking for each other all the time. Like, just really being there through the ups and downs. Like we were a family.
Yeah. Now speaking on Power Rangers, what are some major things you have noticed in your life in the span of joining that big franchise that you haven't encountered before?
I would have to say it's like the amount of messages I get from people that I don't know, and they are just so nice. like usually, like before, it was like like my friends like being really nice to me and stuff, but now it's like people that I haven't met, and they'll message me and be like, "Hey, like, how's your mental health been?" And I'm like, I love you, and like that's why I do want to do like the virtual meet and greets, like to like meet them personally and like say hi and like thank them and stuff like that. But I think that's like the biggest difference I've seen is just like they've never met me and I've never met them, but like they're just so supportive, like, and like just super loving, and I really am touched every time I do get those messages. So
That's really amazing. And another real cool thing that you got to experience that not a lot of people in their first roles get to experience is moving to another country like New Zealand, which is
I
amazing.
know.
Now, what are some major differences that you've seen compared to living here in America? I know like it's a culture shock. Was there anything that's like super different than living here?
I'm trying to think. I mean, because we were in Auckland, it is a city, Well, actually, I think driving on the other side of the road
Mm-hmm.
and like
Yeah.
the driver's seat is like on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember we had like everyone in the cast had to do like a driving lesson / test in case we ever needed to drive in like the show.
Yeah.
And I remember like I was like doing it. I was like really scared. I was like, wait, am I on the right side or the left side? Like, am I doing this right? And like cars were like honking behind me. I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm learning,
Yeah.
That was one thing. And like, they're slang obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I just feel like it was a lot more green for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
A lot more green. The freaking Asian food was amazing.
Really?
Like they had the best like dan noodles I've ever had in my life, and I'm so sad because I know like I've been searching for the like amazing dan noodles like in LA, in San Francisco, and I'm gonna go to New York soon to like freaking like search for, but like I just feel like the dumplings over there and like the dan noodles I had, I feel like I'll never have that amazing of food ever again. Like I'm being really like honest, like it was just so freaking good.
Love how enthusiastic you're about these specific dishes. It's really cool.
I love it. So
sorry.
It's okay.
Now, one of the cool things that I love about Power Rangers and how they deal with a lot of their cast is how much input they give to their actors. Did you get to work a lot with like the creative side of Beast Morphers to help create Betty?
I did. So I met with Chip a lot, like especially in the beginning, and I was like, asking a lot of questions about Betty's background and like her dad, obviously, and her brother. Like, how did Betty get to have like a Hispanic brother? You know what I mean? Like, and like, why is our dad white? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I literally like. We talked a lot, and for every new episode, like sometimes like Chip would like come on set and like we just like talk about the episode, like what Betty and Ben are going through and like what they're feeling and stuff. And so and a lot of things that we did on set, like if we like made jokes or something, like the writers were just like included like in
awesome.
The show. So we definitely did like, and I think like the more the writers got to know us, and Chip too,
mm-hmm.
I think the more it kind of like came into the show, and like our characters started to become more like us, I guess, in a way. So yeah.
Now, what is there anything specific that something like a special talent or something that you love to do that fans don't know about?
Special talent. I mean, we did mention about how we're both like just like have a bunch of different hobbies,
mm-hmm.
God, I don't know. Like, what's like what's a talent? Like,
Secretly like super good at like the upright bass or like
I mean, I feel like fans know this, but like, I feel like I'm a pretty good cook.
okay. Maybe
Like,
start a little cooking channel on YouTube or something.
I always say this. I'm like, if I, for some reason, decided to leave acting one day, and I was like, you know what? I had my fun. I'm gonna move on with my life.
Yeah.
I think I would either become a chef
Mm-hmm.
or like, you know, travel the world and like taste like a bunch of different foods and stuff like that, because like I really do love food. And like one of my favorite things to do is like have a bunch of people over and just like cook for them. And then like whenever I see people trying my food, this is really weird. Yeah. Whenever I see people try my food and they like it, I like nothing brings me more joy when they like eat and they're like, it's really good. And I'm like, yes, like, you know, and I'm definitely a big foodie. So I would say like, I think cooking is like my hidden talent.
That's amazing. I you know, that's always fun to do. I just, you know, don't like washing dishes or washing pots and pans.
It's really bad. Like that's why like I always have like a system. Like if friends are like, hey, like let's get dinner for dinner, they're always like, I'll wash the dishes and you cook. And I'm like, okay, like, got it.
Now, this is the last question. One of the most amazing things about you is the way that you handle your social media platform, the way that you highlight a lot of the injustices in the world and try to educate your fans and try to like point them in the right direction as where they can get more information about, you know, those types of situations. Was this always a goal for you? And how can we get more people to use their platforms to, you know, engage with their audience and educate them on some of these social injustices?
Well, I guess one thing about being in the entertainment industry is that, like, I guess is so different than any other job is you are pretty much like universally connected to like the world, you know, and your voice really matters. And I know there are some people who just like don't like to speak out on things, and that's totally fine. You know, like it is kind of uncomfortable, you know. So I don't know if it was like always my goal, but I know that one of the main reasons why I did decide to become an actor is I wanted to see more people like me on the screen, so that you know, people like us just don't feel forgotten. You know, 'cause I remember growing up like watching TV, and I was just like, I love the story, but like I can't super relate to it because like no one in this movie looks like me and my family. Like where, you know, like where's like my mom and where's like my, you know, but I think it's really hard because especially with the injustices and like racism and stuff like that, it makes people feel really uncomfortable because whenever I guess someone calls you out on something, right, and they're like, hey, that's racist, I think a lot of people get really defensive. They're like, I'm not a racist. But I think the important thing is to know that like racism, unfortunately, is like so deeply embedded in our psyche and in all of us. Like I'm still unlearning and learning a lot of stuff. Like I'm definitely no expert. I'm learning every day. And like sometimes I'll read something and go, oh my God, I used to do that in the past and that was racist. Holy crap, I didn't realize that. You know? So I think it's just like holding accountability for yourself and like not beating yourself up and just being like, okay, I didn't realize, I didn't know that, but now I know. And let me educate other people so that they know, and then they can educate other people, and then their people know, and it's like a domino effect, you know.
It's definitely.
So I hope that like me posting stuff, it helps with something. I never know if it does, you know, but you know, I feel like at least there's one more person speaking out about something.
Yeah, definitely.
And if fans want to like post and like speak out about things too, I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that like we are just one person, so we can't, it's almost impossible to speak out about every single thing, right? Because there's so many things going on in the world, but like I would say like find your thing that you care about and then learn about that, and then you can speak out about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think education, like, you know, learning all aspects about it before, you know, posting about it is like key thing. And it's probably something that scares away a lot of people. I know, like for me growing up, I actually lived overseas in Okinawa, like growing up almost through high school. And we learned about all these things like racism and all that, but we didn't really experience it because we had like such a close class, like everybody was so close, and I honestly thought that it was gone, like that didn't exist anymore.
It was a thing of the past.
Yeah, it was a thing of the past we read about, you never really have to experience. And then when I came back to the States, when I went to high school, I was like, wow, it's like a totally different world. It's scary, you know. It's a scary thing, like having to would deal with like this type of hatred, and some of us are kind of like fortunate enough not to ever experience it, but trying to empathize for other human beings is like, I think, the key to help like maybe move us forward. And I think that's one of the, like I've told you before, one of the my favorite things about you is how you feel for all these other people and try to help educate everybody on it. And I think that's great.
Well, I think one of the main things is like, obviously racism comes from ignorance a lot of the time. Obviously there's people that just like are just hateful, but
Yeah.
But a lot of time, like, I feel like racism comes from ignorance, especially like being in school and like having kids say just like hurtful things to you. Like, they don't really know what they're saying. You know what I mean? Like, and especially they probably learned it from maybe their parents or like something they saw like on TV, and like, and a lot of the time, like, I remember growing up to like a lot of friends that I had, like, they literally like were so shocked when they were like talking to me, and they said like, wait, so like, you don't know how to speak Japanese? And I was just like, I'm Vietnamese. And they're just like, wait, so like, so all Asian people like are not the same? Like, it's just like a lack of education, I feel like, and obviously that's kind of dehumanizing when everyone's like, oh, you're just one thing, and like you're not like a full person, and I feel like when we educate ourselves, we're able to educate others, and hopefully with this education there can be less ignorance, and then less ignorance leads to less racism, and then but we do have some ways to go, but I feel like this past year, like, it was a step forward for sure.
Definitely a step forward. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know it's hard to talk about some of these things, and I really wanted to try to ask you a lot of questions that you haven't encountered before, because I know how it is, especially when you go to cons. A lot of actors and actresses, like when they meet people at cons, they always ask the same questions. Maybe sometimes you won't know the answer to, and then it kind of like, oh, you don't know the answer to a question I have about a show that you were on. Like, it's a thing that you'll see you're gonna have to deal with.
Gosh.
Yeah, with the fandom.
Well,
so
I mean, this is my first year doing a con, especially like virtual, which kind of is sad because like last year we didn't get to go because of COVID, and this year obviously it's virtual.
Yeah.
But your questions were really amazing. Like, I really liked and I really like talking to you too. And
no problem.
And I know you we were trying to get this together for a while, and I'm glad that it worked out. And so obviously I really enjoyed your questions, and I'll probably see you at a con.
Yeah, eventually. We're always at cons. That's where we live. Now you do have one coming up. You got Paramorphicon, right? Yeah. But you're hosting another special meet and greet with your fans.
Yeah. So I've literally in the past year, I've like really wanted to meet my fans and like talk to them and stuff like that. But I know with COVID, it is kind of hard, especially with travel stuff, and like not everyone's vaccinated. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I, like, in order to celebrate Paramorphicon, right? Why don't I just do like virtual meet and greets, whether it's over Zoom or maybe we can do like Instagram video chat. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's a lot more accessible to everybody, and they can just do it from their home. And so yeah, like that's gonna be available soon, which I'm pretty excited about, because I do want to meet the people that are super supportive of me and super loving and awesome, and just like they've just always kind of been there supporting the show, so I want to meet them and say thank you. So
that's amazing. We'll get all the links and we'll put in the description for you guys to check out. I hope you guys enjoy Paramorphicon. Kristina's going to be there, one of the special guests for their new this year's digital Paramorphicon. But thank you so much for your time, and thank you for speaking. Check you guys out later.
Okay, bye.